or self-introduction of the media so that the debate get to know who is here. Then after that, we'll hand it over to get involved from this side, but we'll be guided with that.
With government, with the local leaders, and that's why Rosa encouraged you all to meet with the elders, because they will be crucial. The religious leaders, the elders, the women's group, the young people will be critical, because it is, don't forget, at the end of it, why is there this conflict? Because they're competing for resources, they're competing for water, they're competing.
And doing a development that's informed by values. We mentioned, and UNICEF in particular highlighted the fact that we didn't come to Karamoja today. We've been here for decades. However, the Karamojong have been here for hundreds of years. So what we are trying to do and what is different with this program is let them keep their identity, but help them to evolve at the same time. So they should be able to evolve with society. It is true that there's reports of girls crossing on both sides, but the fact that those reports are there as compared to before, where they wouldn't cross because there was massive cutting on both sides, is a small step in the right direction. So we do believe that if you improve the quality of life and you give alternative livelihoods to the communities, this so-called rite of passage will evolve as well. Because they're calling it a rite of passage into adulthood. There can be another way for you to be able to become an adult and to be able to contribute to that community. So I am very, very hopeful. Last night I was listening to the elders and the governors discussing, and they were saying about how when they were approving the signing of this MOU, 20 minutes went only into, are we going to be able to deal with FGM? So imagine, it wasn't even us. They are the ones who zeroed in. We can do the economic development, we can do everything else, but can we do this to make sure that our women and girls retain their dignity? So I am very optimistic. Now everybody is in. No one is out of it. We all have the same stake. So, but let's put some benchmarks and see, as my colleague said, where do we want to see this region 5 or 10 years from now?
That was Uganda and Kenya signing an MOU to end female genital mutilation. In more stories, National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, NUDIP, wants the government to speed up the impending laws and policies for persons with disabilities in Uganda. Now, while talking to the media at NUDIP headquarters in Bukoto, they said several engagements have been organized, but reaping nothing. Details follow.
Where the president has now visited.
National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, NUDIP, wants government to commit itself on reviewing and initiating laws to cater for persons with disabilities.
The National Policy on Disability has not yet been reviewed for the past 10 years. The National Inclusive Education Policy and the National ICT Policy for persons with disabilities has not yet been approved by Cabinet.
The program's manager, NUDIP Martin Senoga, says even the assented to mental and health bill is not gazetted and cannot be cited.
The health bill, which was assented to by the President on 25th December 2018, has not yet been gazetted and therefore cannot be enforced or even cited as a public document.
These are saying government commitments motivates persons with disabilities to be more appreciative.
Ability of ICT, that the government using the PPDA, they can procure the right ICT for persons with disabilities, and even training people to use it. So all those are part of that policy.
Therefore concerned by the government commitments which are always not met, and hence leaving the lives of persons with disabilities in jeopardy.
But what we are saying is that the government of Uganda decided to commit itself. And so this commitment in 2018, maybe if it was a matter of appeasement, then this is the time they should implement what they have committed themselves to.
This is not the first time for persons with disabilities to call government to expedite their concerns, hence the accumulation of commitments. Abdul Nasir Luwama for UBC News.
Thank you, Abdul Nasir Luwama. In more stories, health researchers are analyzing the country's performance in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals on health. Now, the Countdown to 2030 Initiative for Reproductive, Maternal and Newborn Child and Adolescent Health aims at generating data to guide policy and programming.
Research carried out by Makerere University School of Public Health in collaboration with African Population Health Research Center on maternal, newborn and child health has revealed that there is a lot of improvement in the reduction of maternal, infant and child deaths. However, a lot also needs to be done in order for the country to achieve sustainable development goals on health. The research has shown that in Uganda, 1 out of 16 children born dies before the age of 5.
In other words, one of the key lessons is, whereas the government has focused so much on serving the poor in rural areas, now we can't forget about people in urban areas. There are also the poor who are living in these urban areas. So until we focus on them also, then we are not going to achieve the goals of child mortality reduction.
The research has also revealed that 6 sub-regions of Karamoja, Busoga, Bunyoro, North Central, West Nile and Toro are performing poorly in maternal and infant health.
One of the reasons why some of these regions are not doing well is that their health systems are quite weak, and the way they implement also programs is quite weak. One of the things we found that if you look at intervention like immunization, like nutrition, like breastfeeding, care for sick children, these regions generally perform poorly in terms of implementation.
We are going to prioritize those areas. We have a package of services which we have prioritized, also called an essential package. So we are going to put more effort, more energy in those places. But putting energy is not enough. Another important thing is to make sure that we continue to monitor. All the time we see the changes, and that's also another area where we don't have much effort.
One of the Sustainable Development Goals on health is to end all preventable maternal, newborn and child deaths by the year 2030. Adiana Kute, UBC.
The Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, in partnership with the State Minister for Tourism, Godfrey Chiwanda, are sensitizing political leaders on recruiting companies abroad. Now, statistics indicate that since 2016, 41,580 Ugandans have been employed in the UAE countries. All these Ugandans pass through registered companies, despite the fake ones involved in human trafficking. We have a detailed report.
Over 41,580 Ugandans are already working in the United Arab Emirates, and out of this, 29,359 are female and 12,221 are male. This is according to the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development statistics since 2016-19. However, despite the increasing numbers of Ugandans yearning to work abroad, there are still several challenges, which include human trafficking and torture by unregistered companies, which have caused government to be accused for not doing enough to fight these vices. A senior labour officer at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Wasukira Raymond, says, in the efforts to fight these vices of human trafficking and torture, government has registered over 160 recruiting companies abroad and encouraged Ugandans to use them.
You should know a true company. There are other companies that are not genuine, others are genuine. Okay? So please take the initiative of knowing these companies so that you move freely in a company that is legally registered. Placement fees are known. We don't charge any fees. Companies are not mandated to charge placement fees apart from something maybe like application, which is about 50,000.
This was during the sensitization workshop for Mityana, Mubende and Kasanda political leaders organized by Minister of State for Tourism, Godfrey Chiwanda, and the Ministry of Gender and Enro Hotel in Mityana Municipality. Chiwanda said the workshop aimed at training political leaders on the registered recruiting companies and regulations guiding the industry. Chiwanda commended the good work done by registered companies, but said a lot is still needed because unemployment is still at 67%.
Then when they have the information, they should work with the right people. If they have some people to guide from their sub-counties, that's why I've called the women leaders, because most of the people are going are women. Some of them are married, some of them are single mothers. So they need to get this information so that if any company comes to their sub-counties, they can be able to interact with them, they can be able to ask them, they can even to get this kind of, because now this company, most of the companies that have been going to the villages, they are not registered, they take our people illegally. So
the general manager, premier recruiting company Kanasha, and the political leaders after the workshop had their say on external labor placement.
Or you may not have even completed high school. Don't worry if you can't find your dream job. Most people will never start their careers in their dream job. I would encourage you to take any opportunity that you can. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world today, and especially when you look at Uganda, has the largest youngest population in the world, with a very, very high rate of unemployment between 18 to 25-year-olds.
This to compare it to what they should recruit. So sometimes they recruit in excess when they have less jobs, which has caused the commotion to their offices.
Company ezikola bulungi zikola bulungi naye abaana abafunye ebizibu abasinga obungi bebakukusa obukukusa ne babayise Nairobi ku bigere naye abantu abayise mu makampuni agalagirwa amateeka bali mu mbeera nnungi.
External labor jobs, especially in Arab, are currently strewn with controversies hinged on mistreatment of Africans while at work. Report compiled by Salon Kasvante in Mityana.
The Chairman Electoral Commission Justice Simon Byabakama has rejected a proposal by political activists to have election ballots papers printed in Uganda. Now the proposal, according to activists, will conform to the current Ugandan trade policy of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. This was during celebrations to mark World Democracy Day, with Byabakama emphasizing that printing ballot papers may turn disastrous to election outcomes in Uganda.
Too many ideas and proposals ran in the minds of these political activists as they embarked on an early morning trek to Kololo Independence Grounds, one that was outstanding. Was the idea of printing ballot papers locally, as opposed to the practice of having them printed abroad.
We need to sort out the issues that have actually caused that skepticism around Uganda not being to the level of printing its own electoral material, addressing trust issues within ourselves, addressing transparency issues within the companies, addressing issues of integrity within the entities that we seek to hire to do these jobs.
The political activists say this will hit two birds with one stone through promoting Uganda's trade policy of Bubu and advancing Uganda's electoral democracy.
I am one of the persons that strongly feels that we should be printing our own electoral material. Why? First of all, the printing of electoral material is very costly. There's a lot of money that goes into that. And that essentially means that we are sending that money to another country. We should actually be retaining that money in our economy.
Electoral Commission Chairperson Simon Byabakama, however, disagrees, saying such a move will be disastrous.
In a bid to make the process appear as transparent as possible, that's why the EC says, let's go and do it in a neutral country, with a neutral agency. If you award the tender here to whichever organization, they will start digging up. It is yellow, it is blue, it is red, it is white. So what do you understand? So I think unless really we come out with an elaborate procedure where the people can be satisfied themselves that we can do it ourselves and we shall respect the work done here. But for now, we are not yet, I think, in the business of boboing our ballot papers.
In a country where general elections are always followed by petitions, the public is urged to always participate in verifying candidates' academic documents. This was during celebrations to mark World Day of Democracy, which in Uganda was facilitated by United Nations Development Program.
But the first responsibility is upon the candidate. Please, can you present authentic academic papers so that you don't waste people's time? Why should the court announce your victory on account of questionable academic papers or credentials, which you could have corrected yourself beforehand.
And as we work together, in terms of supporting the roadmap to 2021 elections, you can count on the United Nations to work with you. We at UNDP have a program, thank you, that is, focusing on deepening democracy and the rule of law here in Uganda. And we're going to continue working with all the stakeholders in this process.
Uganda is one of the countries whose democracy is growing. It, however, requires cooperation among political actors, as recently put by former Makerere Don, Professor Tanga Odoi.
I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, being an administrator of an electoral process in a third world country is one of the hills without slopes.
The International Day of Democracy was marked at Kololo Independence Grounds under the theme, Participate to Promote Democracy. Henry Okurut, UBC.
UBC News Tonight will take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more news for you.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Measles and rubella outbreaks are still being reported in some districts in Uganda, putting the lives of our children at risk. In order to stop these outbreaks and maintain a polio-free Uganda, the Ministry of Health has planned a national measles, rubella and polio immunization campaign for all children under 15 years of age on 16th to 20th October 2019, starting 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. All vaccines are safe, effective, and free. Parents and caretakers are hereby asked to take all children under 15 years of age for immunization at the nearest health facility or immunization post. Ministry of Health also calls upon everybody to report any child with a fever and generalized skin rash to the nearest health facility or health worker immediately. This could be measles or rubella. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from World Health Organization and UNICEF.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#, select option 6, school fees, select option 2, school pay, select option 1, pay fees, enter student number, enter the amount, enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money, simple, instant, secure.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Parliament of Uganda will host the 64th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference from the 22nd to the 29th of September 2019 at the Munyonyo Commonwealth Resort. The conference provides an opportunity for parliaments to discuss best practices, governance values, and socio-economic aspirations of the Commonwealth. The conference will run under the theme Adoption, Engagement, and Evolution of Parliaments in a Rapidly Changing Commonwealth. Discussions will focus on climate change, innovations in parliaments, persons with disabilities, youth, urbanization, sexual harassment, and separation of powers, among other topics. More than 1,000 delegates from 54 countries are expected, and this will be an opportunity for Ugandans in the social and economic sectors to benefit by providing their services. Follow us on the hashtag 64CPC2019 and on Facebook at 64th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference. This message is brought to you by the Clerk to Parliament.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pain Arena. Introducing on the right corner, Mr. Action, the reigning heavyweight champion in the ring against
the Headache, the #1 contender. And the bell rings.
Headache charges forward with a steady right and a left hook. Action dodges. He misses out with an inch. Wait a minute. Mr. Action launches back with a kick. The final blow. He is out.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
333. What's up with number 3? It's 3 at Airtel and not 4 anymore. It's 3 shillings per second across all networks in Uganda.
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second. Get to talk to anyone on any network anytime at 3 shillings per second. Tuanzi Soze!
Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Does heartburn stop you from eating the things you love? Eating too fast, alcohol or spicy food can trigger acidity, heartburn, indigestion or flatulence. Your best bet is Better Cool. Better Cool works fast to relieve acidity, heartburn and indigestion. Trust Better Cool. Enjoy life.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
You're still watching Ubc News Tonight. In more stories, police has received more bodies of Ugandans who died from abroad where they had gone in search for job opportunities. Now, initially, police was expecting only one body of Chiwanika Moses, who was allegedly found dead in his bed in Kuwait 3 months ago. However, as Charles Twine, the CID spokesperson, elucidates, police was shocked to find more 2 cargo pieces containing the remains of Nagawa Sarah and Sylvia Mutonyi, who also died abroad at work.
Just a day after successful repatriation of the remains of 2 young men who allegedly died in June in Kuwait, police has again received 3 more bodies from Dubai, Oman and Kuwait. According to Charles Twine, the CID spokesperson, police was expecting the remains of Kiwanuka Moses, one of the 3 men that died on the same day in Kuwait under unclear circumstances.
Receive the body of Chiwanuka, but when we reached there, we got those other issues.
According to the manifest that accompanied the bodies, it is alleged that 24-year-old Sylvia Mutonyi died in May, while 42-year-old Nagawa Sarah died in June. Police acknowledges the fact that Mutonyi's case had been reported, and as such, efforts to repatriate her remains were yet to yield results.
But on a good note, the family also expeditiously engaged the other agencies and retrieved the body in time. So we thank them for that, but it's not because we are negligent. We would actually also sooner or later retrieve this body. Nagawa's body was brought in by her relative, some lady who traveled to Dubai, and even according to the airway bill, the body is addressed in her names.
Accordingly, the bodies have been delivered to the city mortuary for post-mortem before they are handed over to their relatives for burial. Meanwhile, the families of the 2 bodies that were repatriated on Thursday have received and taken their beloved ones home. Witnessing the return of lifeless Mojoni John Torres, residents of Makindi Madriza zone yelled in pain for the loss of the son of the soil. One by one, mourners decried the ever-increasing unemployment level in the country, a factor they blame for pushing Torres abroad, where he met his death.
Teyaligenze fiireeyo singa abadde akolera wano mwe temuliwo wano kyogamba abadde asiiba ku mazzi ate tasiiba ku mazzi kyogamba yagayigireeyo yalivudde wano ng'abadde asobola okukolerawo emirimu gye nga mwe mukola egyammwe.
Dorcas Kimono and Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC TV News.
In our sports stories, Uganda's Swimming Federation scooped the first ever gold medal at the ongoing CANA Africa Age Group Swimming Championship in Tunisia. This achievement was by Chirabo Namtebi in the 50 meters breaststroke.
For the first time ever at an underage continental swimming competition, Uganda has won a gold medal. This was by Namutebi Kirabo, whose exploits in the 50-meter breaststroke final fetched gold in Tunisia. Namutebi raced home in 35.13 seconds, beating 8 others including Ayman Naden, Karas Ranaya, Kaylin Lisa, Taomi Melissa, and Motohinza Shamiso.
I'm really happy and excited that I won the medal for 50 meters breaststroke, and I'm happy that I got to represent Uganda in such a championship. I am thankful for everyone who made it possible for me to get here, and I'm looking forward to my other events.
Namutebi will have another shot at the gold medal later today when she competes in the 15 meters freestyle final. Uganda's other medal from this Kana event was silver by Rebecca Sengonzi in 2015 in Egypt. Uganda was represented in Tunisia by 12 swimmers including Swagia Mobiru, Paulsen Setumba, Tendo Kaumi and Hayan Kisitu.
I would like to say that this experience was very helpful, helping me to know how competitive other guys around Africa are, and I would like to thank the people who helped me to come to compete in this championship.
I'm thankful to all the people who brought me to the Tunisia Championship, and I'm really grateful for this exposure to international competition.
The championship climaxes this weekend with the open water swimming category, in which Uganda will be ably represented. John Barnes, Centum, reporting.
Congratulations, Chirabo Namtebi. She actually just won another medal, and UBC TV will give you more details in our subsequent bulletin. We're so proud of her. In more stories, Federation Internationale Cinema Television Sportif ended the 13th Kampala International Fix Festival with awarding different excelling personalities in both the media and sports fields by the body's jury members. The winners will be selected to compete in Sport, Movies and TV Challenge to be held in Milano, Italy from 25th to 30th October. Among the awards competed for was the APL in commemoration of Andrew Patrick Luandaga, the founder of FICTS in Uganda and a former long-time serving journalist at UBC TV.
And appreciate so much.
SC Villa has aged Express FC in Uganda's oldest and arguably most anticipated football derby. The two came into this game knowing that only victory would suffice, albeit this early in the 2019-2020 Uganda Premier League. After that first half ended scoreless, with both sides devoid of any clear-cut chances to break the deadlock. In the second half, Express FC, playing in the red jersey, appeared to be on the ascendance, but couldn't use ball possession to its advantage. At this point, and totally against the run of play, SC Villa pounced and got the solitary 3 points clincher with a well-taken Ambrose Kiria goal that maintained the record champions atop the standings. In the other game played, Toro United came from a goal down to pile misery on already troubled Uganda Revenue Authority in a 2-1 victory. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. Before we sign out, we'll take one final look at the headlines. EC rejects proposal to print ballots locally. Uganda-Kenya cross-border MOU to end FGM. In more news, Uganda's newborns and child health promising. In our sports news, Nantawi Chirawa wins gold at Kana in Tunisia. SC Villa Express. That's all we had for you for now. Join us again at 10 p.m. for more news coming your way. My name is Sharon Chandra. Have a lovely night.
Was brought to you by UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Brought to you by Better Cool works fast to relieve acidity, heartburn, and indigestion. Trust Better Cool. Enjoy life.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.